want to unpause the recording so we can get started. This meeting is being recorded. I'm Mark Patterson, representing Secretary Robert Rodriguez. I'm going to open the September meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board. Couple quick notes. The governor has not extended the executive order, so we're operating under regular rules, which does allow, once we have a quorum in person, for people to come in, board members come remotely as long as they're in a place that's been noticed and have the public. So we have Jill joining us from the AG's office in Poughkeepsie. Lewis is there with her, and we have some other staff here. So I don't think that requires any other explanation, Rob, in terms of just the regular order.
No, you did a fine job.
Great, good news. So, and also just to remind people that because we are still streaming or hybrid meeting, that put your phone or device on mute unless you're speaking. When you are speaking, please identify yourself. Folks who are lobbyists are required to identify themselves, but it's helpful to us to have everybody do that. So again, those are just some opening remarks, and let me just have the other members of the board introduce themselves.
I'm Thomas Fuller, representing Dr. Mary Bassett for the Department of Health.
Jill.
And Jill Faber, representing Attorney General Letitia James.
Okay. So everybody's present. Meeting comes to order. First order of business is the minutes of the previous meeting, which were distributed to the board members. Is there anybody that has suggested changes or corrections to the minutes as mailed and distributed?
And none.
No? So
Nope.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting as distributed. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The minutes are accepted. Next up is the legislation and regulation report, which we sent out to board members in advance. Is there anything else that you'd like to raise?
Oh, no legislative report this month. There was no activity for me to report on.
Great. Okay, and there's no regulatory issues?
No regulatory issues to report on.
Great. Okay, anybody have any questions, council, on that regard? Questions about nothing? This is a Seinfeld moment. Okay, and next up is our division report. Lewis, you want to give us a report on staffing and?
Just a reminder, next month, we're going to be reporting on the status of abandonments for the new abandonment regulations. So you'll be getting that then. We're also going to be making a pitch next month on delegating retort replacement applications to us under appropriate circumstances. Those are just teasers for next month. That's not happening this month. I'm also going to note, I think it makes more sense to discuss this in the context of complete application, which we anticipate presenting next month. But we have one where it's unclear whether it's within our delegated authority. It is clear that it should be. When we present the application, since we've already written it up, we'll get confirmation from you guys that you don't really need to hear things like this. We can just handle them ourselves. But again, those are just teasers for next month. For this month, staffing update, I believe this is September, right? So our last meeting was August. Okay. We have a new employee, Stephen Troutman, started as an accountant in our Buffalo office. Binghamton office. We have two new accountants in the Buffalo office, but they've started already. He started at the beginning of the month. We are working on filling the two vacant accountant positions in Albany. There were interviews, I think, are still ongoing, although it's a little unclear. We're working with HR on that. But we really do need to fill those two positions. That's the major staffing update. I'm also going to mention that we're coming up on us getting the annual report out. So if we're working on next year's annual report forms, tweaking a few things. One change we're going to make is that we're going to be requiring cemeteries to report if they have certificates, and if so, to give us a report on those certificates. That's actually required under section 1511. We have not been collecting that information affirmatively. We should be and we will be. We've also sent out a survey to the cemeteries we know have certificates and asked them to return it this week. I've received 2 so far and 1 request for an extension. And I'm expecting to receive either a whole bunch more this week or a whole bunch of requests for extensions, which of course, if there's a colorable reason for them, we will give. Really, the purpose of this year's exercise on certificates is to establish a baseline with which to evaluate annual reporting on certificates. What we know about cemeteries with certificates is, quite frankly, in many cases, 20 years old, which is not very useful. That's all I had. Alicia, did you have anything else?
No, I think you covered it.
So do you want to do the annual reports now before the vandalism report? Just easier for me for the minutes. Just what's our percentage of online filing?
I did not look at that, sorry.
Okay. As of last month,
hovering around 40%.
Right, as of last month, it was 41%, which is pretty darn good. We'd
Yeah.
love to get it over 50% because it helps us collect data and it helps us know what's going on better with cemeteries, and there's less room for clerical error, especially given that we have no clerical staff. That's all I had.
Okay, and is there anything you want to say about the Investigators app that we've recently launched?
Sorry?
Is that another thing? Is there anything you want to talk about? The Investigators app that we launched, or just save that for?
I'm going to save that for next month, but I will report that I forgot last week. It was last week already. Time flies. I was at the NYSAC meeting in Cooperstown. We had a lot of interest in things, a lot of good questions. From what I heard, I was only there for 1 day. Good presentation. So I know that we obviously are not in the position of promoting investment advisory. We wouldn't have that. But on the Investment Advisors Forum, several of the people who give investment advice to cemeteries specifically said either, yes, we have an investment plan for cemeteries that is as little as $5 grand in the bank, or we don't touch anything under $500 billion, but we'd also be happy to give a little bit of guidance to the smaller endowed cemeteries as to options they might consider. Since we can't recommend any of these folks, I'd recommend that any smaller cemeteries out there who might be listening, interested in this kind of thing, contact NYSAC, because there are New York State Association of Cemeteries, because there are resources out there. Most of the people there specifically said we'd be absolutely happy to try to point people in the right direction, even if they don't have enough money to invest with them. So, one of the big challenges we have are cemeteries that have small endowments and have them all either in T-bills or savings accounts. Everyone agreed that's not a good idea. Everyone also agreed that you don't have to be in that position. There are things you can do. And like I said, if you reach out to NYSAC, they should have people who will be willing to talk to them. And that really is all I had.
Okay, anybody have any questions? Members have questions for Louis?
No questions.
Okay. Next is getting our vandalism report from our director, Alicia.
So I circulated the report. There's really nothing remarkable about it. I think we added a couple new applications a month, and we have 2 applications for the board today.
Okay. And that is the substance of our agenda this month. So let's move to the vandalism fund applications. Both are dangerous monument applications. The first is from Evergreen Hills Cemetery in Genesee County in the amount of $41,187.74. Can someone present that to the board?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
This is Michael Katina, investigator in Buffalo. Evergreen Lawn Cemetery Association did submit 33 dangerous monuments for repair. They did run legal notices 3 times in the Batavia Daily News. Me and Mike Spillman went out and assessed the monument. We found 31 of the 33 to be dangerous. And we approve those. They have only one estimate, was from Western New York, and the estimate was for $41,012, an average of $1,323 a monument, which is a little higher than the average of $1,123 of the last 12 Western New York, last 12 dangerous monument applications we did. Western New York does propose 42-inch foundations and offer a 20-year warranty. They are up to date on their annual reports and their vandalism payments, and I recommend approval in the amount of $41,187.74.
And that covers ones that you decide is dangerous, not the others.
I'm sorry, Jill, you broke up.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Yes.
That will cover repair of the ones that you identified as dangerous, not the two that you didn't, right?
Correct. Those are excluded from the total.
Michael, I actually had a question. I should have asked you this in the
Yeah.
pre-meeting. Are there any walkouts on the board here?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think we looked at that. I just didn't remember
Yeah.
what the answer was.
Yeah, no. Well, this one does not. I do not believe have any. Let me.
So this is like any other situation where a cemetery could only get one bid. There's no related parties.
Correct. And
Okay.
there was a letter from a cemetery saying they were from a monument company saying they were unable to bid on this. So they did attempt to reach out to more than one.
Okay, good, thanks.
Rob, you have anything to add to the application?
No comments from council.
Okay. Any other questions from board members about the application? I'll make a motion to approve the application of Evergreen Hill Cemetery in Genesee County in the amount of $41,187.64. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The next one is from Fruma Packard Cemetery, if I said that right, in Atlanta County, in the amount of $34,218.12. Can someone present that to the board?
Yes, this is Mike Seelman. Fruma Packard Cemetery is a small Jewish cemetery in the city of Syracuse. It's actually Onondaga County. They've submitted an application for repair of 45 hazardous monuments. I went out and looked at the monuments, and they were all tipping or loose and appeared to create a hazard. The cemetery put the ad in the Post Standard, ran it for 3 times as required. In addition to that, they were able to, they have pretty good records, and they have a donor list. And they were able to look at their donor list, and they came up with 13 names that they thought may be associated with some of these monuments. And they sent out 13 letters specifically to these people. They only got 4 responses, and all 4 of those either said that, that wasn't their relative, or they were unable to pay for repairs. So it's it's our understanding that they weren't able to identify any additional lot owners. They did get 2 estimates for repairs. Both contractors are going to go down 42 inches. They offer a 7-year warranty. The cemetery's up to date on their annual reports and vandalism payments. And I've recommended approval in the amount of $34,218.12.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for Mike?
No.
No.
Council,
Mike,
do
it
you have
might be
any?
worth.
Mike,
Sorry, is there a question, Rob?
I was going to apologize if I missed it. What's the date of the newest monument in this grouping?
The most recent monument of the 45 is from 1994.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, it might be worth mentioning, I remember with this one, they had a fairly detailed schematic on how they were going to fix the foundations. Might be worth mentioning just briefly what they're doing, like what their engineer did and all that.
This is the second hazardous monument application that they've had. The first application, they actually included in their application a sketch from an engineer that they retained to design the foundations. And basically, they're a monolithic foundation. They go down 42 to 48 inches. They're flared at the bottom slightly and smooth-sided. And based on the cemetery itself is on a large hill. I don't know if it's geologically considered a drumlin, but it has that appearance. It's relatively, flat in the area, and it's a large hill. And the engineer based their sketch on the geology of that cemetery and the fact that because it's a hill, I guess the topsoil migrates down the hill. And they felt that this foundation, it's typical of what we see people installing. The only difference is it's got a flared base. But that's what they'll be doing.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
Any other questions on the application? I'll make a motion to approve the Fruma Packard Cemetery in Oneida County, City of Syracuse, at the amount of $34,218.12. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. I believe that completes our agenda for this meeting. Our next cemetery board meeting is scheduled for October 13th. I don't believe we're going to executive session, or are we?
Rob, I sent you a message. If we need a non-public session, I can set one up right now. I don't know if you're
It's up to you.
prepared.
I didn't think that came up, but while they're figuring that out, I also want to move to the public comment period. We are always anxious to hear from the public. You can comment on matters before the board or matters that would be before the board. Is there anyone here wishing to speak to address the board?
Sure. Hi. David Fleming from the New York State Association of Cemeteries. Director Polishuk commented on the NYSAC conference last week. I just want to publicly thank him for attending and answering questions. I think it's always very helpful when we have that communication and dialogue, and I thank the board for making an effort every year to attend the Albany meetings, and the engagement with regulators and being able to have that dialogue is extremely important, particularly to the smaller cemeteries who are having difficulty but are getting resources not just by having the director present, but as he mentioned, other seminars that provide them with advice on how to deal with investments and management. So just on behalf of the association, thank you for the continued dialogue. It's welcome and helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good for us as well. Anything else? Anybody else wanted to speak to the board? Have we resolved the question about whether we need an executive session or a non-meeting?
Based upon Lewis's prompt, it might be appropriate for the board to move into a meeting pursuant to Public Officers Law 108
All right, let's
to
try
have
that.
a conversation with counsel of a privileged nature to discuss the potential for litigation.
Okay, but we can adjourn the meeting
Yes.
ahead of time, so we will be moving to that non-public meeting. And I'll make a motion or take a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. We will be moving to a non-public
Mark,
meeting.
do you want to just go back into our office, and Tom, you want to just go back into our office area and take it from Alicia's office?
It's up to you.
Call.
I mean, Alicia, do you think you can get the WebEx going up there?
I can stop this meeting and start another one.
You can do it in there.
I think a call is fine.
The call is fine? Okay.
Thank you all.
Am I sending a WebEx or am I just calling that conference room?
Just call Alicia's office.
Call my phone.
On the phone, okay. Yeah, you have a conference.